Hi guys, Dave here from Black Stump Ballistics, and today we're talking about firearms licensing. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how to get your recreational or open hunting license in Western Australia. Now, it's no big secret that Australia has some of the toughest firearms laws in the world, and Western Australia is about the toughest of the lot. There's a lot of boxes to tick and a lot of paperwork to fill out, but it is doable, and today we're going to talk about how it's done. But first of all, while other Dave gets out to Billy Farm, a quick preface and a little bit of housekeeping. Now, this video is as accurate as I've been able to make it as of October 2023, but as many of you in Western Australia know, there's a good chance this video won't be accurate at all in 12 months' time. Now, I've tried to cover as much as I can as accurate as possible in this video, but for more current information, talk to your dealer. They have a vested interest in your success, they have all the current information, they go through this process every single day, and they want to help you. So head on over for a chat. And now for the housekeeping. Please, no hateful comments about police officers in the comments below. Yes, we all get treated with contempt by police officers, but that's life. Your average copper is a hard-working individual, and overly complicated red tape, like this licensing process, doesn't make their job any easier. Their attitudes towards us are indicative of their leadership, or lack thereof, so if you want to complain about anyone, you can pick on the Minister and the Commissioner. Now, on to how you get your actual license. On paper, the first thing you need to do is establish your genuine need, but we'll get to that in a bit. Realistically, the first thing you need to do is acquire a firearm. It sounds pretty counterintuitive, and it is, but you're going to be applying for that serial number, and you can't do that until you have your firearm. Unlike more sensible times and places, Western Australia has no permit to acquire system. So you can't just walk into your police station with all of your supporting documents and leave with a piece of paper that says you can buy a .22 long rifle. You first have to go to your dealer, buy a gun, apply for it, and hope that you get your license. You with me so far? You're also going to need to prove that you have somewhere to shoot your new gun. Now, in Western Australia, you actually can't shoot or hunt on public land, which includes state forest and crown land. So the best way of doing this would be to get a property letter from a farmer or someone with a lot of land. Information included on this property letter will be things like the property size, the property location, and also the type of vermin that they have available, which of course is another important factor when you're choosing a new rifle. Make sure the property owner states all of the vermin that they've had on their property. So rabbits, foxes, cats, dogs, goats, pigs, pigeons, rainbow lorikeets, and speaking of property sizes, the police website will tell you that there is no defined limit as to how much property you need per calibre, but there are a number of factors that take into account, including the property's proximity to roads and houses, the topography and the terrain, access by other members of the public, the amount of livestock on the property, the calibre, and the intended purpose of the firearm. Now, the police are quite tight-lipped on their internal policies regarding this process, but these figures are a rough guideline based on what most dealers have seen come through recently. You might be able to get by with less, but we recommend that you find properties with this amount of acreage. You can also go for a club support letter, and this will be necessary for Category H and Category C firearms in most cases. Now, generally speaking, to be eligible for club support, you'll need to be an active and financial member of the club for a nominal period of time, but the caveat of getting a club support is that your firearm will only be usable for club activities. This is probably not a problem for a lot of people pursuing this license, but if you also want to pursue your own private activities with that firearm, think carefully. The genuine reason and genuine needs test are pretty much central to how the licensing works in Western Australia, and I would suggest that you get some help with this, whether you talk to your local club, or you talk to your employer, or you talk to your local dealer. Essentially, you need to state why you need to have a firearms license, and there are only a couple of acceptable answers. These include whether it be for club use by an active and financial member of the club, or for use in hunting or shooting of a recreational nature on private land, or as a requirement of your occupation. There are a couple more, but I won't get into those in this video. As for the genuine needs test, if you're only applying for Category A firearms, which are mainly rimfire rifles, air rifles and shotguns, there is no genuine needs requirement. However, if you're applying for a Category B, a Category C, a Category H, and I think a Category E, you're going to need to state why a Category A firearm wouldn't be suitable.
including firearms that you already own. This might be for the competition that you want to shoot, but if you are hunting or managing livestock, simply stating that it's for humane kills is often good enough. The genuine reason and genuine needs test are often overlooked when people talk about licensing in Australia, and it's really important to keep these in mind. For most of us, we're only allowed to shoot at clubs or hunt on private land. That's it. I'm not going to get into all those other pseudo reasons. You know what I mean. This is Australia, not America.
You'll next need to pass your firearms awareness test or safety awareness test. And this isn't practical at all. This is just a 20-question multiple choice questionnaire, which can be done at your dealer or most police stations. It'll normally cost you $25, and it's generally quite straightforward. You know, the questions are quite logical, but if you are stuck, always think of the worst possible scenario that a non-shooter would give you. That's the only help I can give you. If you're unsure, your dealer can help you, so don't be afraid to talk to them. Each firearm you apply for will also need to have a serviceability certificate. This is just a complex bit of paper that has all the relevant information on your gun, you know, serial number, action type, make, model, barrel length, all that jazz, and it can be acquired from any dealer or gunsmith. Now, if you buy the gun from your dealer, they'll generally do it for free. Otherwise, places like Beaton's will do it for $25. Now, if you bring an old gun into a place like Beaton Firearms, they're going to be checking things like stock condition and sear spring weights, you know, check how heavy your trigger is, and they're not going to pass if they don't think it's safe. So, for example, when I brought Dad to bring in some of his old guns, so I could apply for a co-user license, the old 22's trigger was a little bit light, which needed adjusting, and the old 12 gauge had a cracked stock, which needs repairs before I can apply for it.
Now that you've got all of your documents together, it's time to complete your digital pre-application. Now, most dealers will do this for customers for free, and this process basically collates all of your letters and your certificates and information about your gun together, while also establishing the genuine need for each firearm that you're applying for. You'll need to fill out a little box for each one, describing how you plan on using the firearm, and it's highly recommended that you be as specific as possible, meaning that your 22 long rifle isn't just for shooting bunnies, but that 22 long rifle is for shooting rabbits on foot at a distance of 50 metres, or this 223 is for shooting foxes at a distance of 100 to 200 metres with a thermal from a vehicle. Be creative and ask your dealer for help. After completing your digital pre-application, you'll receive an automatic email which contains a summary and further information about what to do next. Print this out, but do not sign it, as your signature needs to be witnessed by whoever is processing your application. So print out all of your documents, bring 100 points of ID, and get a haircut. Now this will probably take your post officer a little bit of time to process, so if you can, be considerate and head there when it's a bit quiet. They'll need to cross-reference every different document and make sure you've got everything in line, so be helpful. And when you're done, you get your mugshot and you fork over that much. Yeah, it went up this year. I don't know of any states where the licensing costs more than this, but it's good to know that you're getting your money's worth, eh? Now, at the moment, there's no actual limit as to how many firearms you can apply for at once, so it's pretty common for people to save them up and apply for a lot at once, which is what I did. 2 shotguns, 2 rimfire rifles, 2 centerfire rifles, and 2 co-user firearms on my dad's license. Now, once you're done at the post office, save your receipt. Don't chuck it, don't lose it. Put it somewhere safe, because your paper license will not be valid without proof of payment.
Next comes the cooling off period. Now, you would think that a cooling off period is a good thing for a firearms license, right? 2 days, 3 days, maybe 7 days. Well, in Western Australia, it's 28 days. Sometimes longer. Mine took more than 5 weeks to get to me. That's 28 days of dust and donut crumbs gathering up on your application paperwork, waiting to be processed. Now, often the police will actually start your application during this process. You know, they'll start checking your serviceabilities at the dealer. They might start checking property letters. And you're encouraged to check the online portal for more information about how the process is going along. However, they didn't actually put my information in the portal, so I had to phone them whenever I wanted an update. Now, once your 4 weeks is up, they're going to mail you your Form 22 stat deck. Now this is a two-part form. The first part of the form is you confirming whether you actually do want to proceed with the application, because who doesn't love wasting $400? And the second part is a request for information regarding your safe. Now you will need to have your own safe to get a gun license, and they're going to be asking you all sorts of information regarding make and model, door thickness, wall fixings, washer thicknesses, all that sort of stuff. They'll send you some sample photos. These photos aren't really enough to go through with the application, and the form they'll send you often isn't suitable either. The form that they sent me wasn't correctly printed, and I wouldn't have actually been able to fill it out and get it signed. So I would recommend going to their website and printing off your own copy. Once you've filled out all the information, do not sign this, as your signature will need to be witnessed, just the same as your other application. So back to the post office or go see your local JP or someone like that. Now, you can mail this form straight back to police licensing, or you can scan it and email it. Once you've sent in your stat deck and your Form 22, next comes a nice long wait of another 4 to 6 weeks. They might want to come and look at your safe, but they didn't in my case. And at the end of 4 to 6 weeks, they'll send you your paper license. And the first thing you need to do is staple that receipt to it. Remember that receipt that you've been sitting on for 3 months? Now's the time to staple it to your license. This license is not valid without proof of payment, so I hope you kept it. You're also going to receive a plastic ID card. Now this is not your license. In fact, there's not much information on it at all. However, you're required to keep it and produce it on request. So you've got your license, you've brought your guns home. What next? Well, the next thing I think every shooter should do in Western Australia is join the SSAA. The Sporting Shooters Association of Australia is the industry's primary lobbying group, as well as a fantastic source of news and information for new shooters and old. For an additional fee, they offer some pretty good equipment insurance, and membership with the SSAA is also a requirement to shoot at most clubs in Western Australia, including my own local. Once you've joined the SSAA, I'd recommend you go and check out your local club and see what competitions they offer. You might not think you're particularly competitive just yet, but so what? Shoot a match, join in and have fun. And the last thing you need to do is go shooting. And take a mate with you. Share your new hobby with as many non-shooters as possible, and do your part to make sure this sport is going to survive the bureaucracy that's coming. Anyway, folks, thanks again for joining us on Black Stump Ballistics, and I hope this video helps a few of you out. We've currently got more content in the works, so make sure you like and subscribe to YouTube and Facebook, and we'll see you on the next video.